Oh.
It's 6:20, so it's time to call the, 6:20 on March 2nd, 2020. It's time to call the city council meeting to order, please. Ms. Rhodes, roll call.
Yes, sir. Mr. Austin?
Here.
Mr. Blankenship?
Here.
Mr. Dugan?
Here.
Ms. McGinnis?
Here.
Mr. Reinerson?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
So we have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. I want this time to ask Mr. Tom Moore from the Community Baptist Church to lead prayer and lead us with the pledge, please.
Father in heaven, we're just so grateful for, Lord, just simple things such as the winter that we've had, Lord, and just with spring around the corner. More importantly than weather, Lord, we're just grateful, Father, for the country that we live in. Father, we're just thankful for the city of Franklin. And Lord, Father, we just come to you, lift up our public servants, Father, and all the important work that they have before them, and the decisions that they are going to make tonight. Father, we think of our first responders and just the safety. We just want to ask that you would protect them. Lord, Father, we just ask that you would also protect the families of our public servants and our first responders. And also, Father, we want to lift up our citizens of Franklin, Indiana, and Father, we ask for spiritual and physical health in each of the families represented. Father, we're just grateful for so many things. And Father, we just want to look to you for the decisions ahead that are going to be made tonight. And we ask this in our Father's name. Amen. Stand for city. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, that gets us to the announcements, presentations, public comment. I just want to welcome Will McGinnis tonight. He's not here because his mother's on the city council. He's here because he's part of the mayor's youth council. So thanks, Will, for coming tonight. Is there any other announcements, presentations, or public comment? Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. I'm Josh Collins with the City of Franklin Fire Department. Some don't. I want to come for you guys tonight just to update you with something that's going on, and it's growing very quickly. We have a family in Franklin that has an 18-month-old boy that was diagnosed last November with a very rare cancer. Lieutenant Goodpath and myself heard about it, and with the blessing of our chief and our union, we reached out to the family to see if there's anything we could do to help assist them through this time. And there are some things we've helped them got done around the house, and garage door fix and other things, just to help take that stuff off their plate. And the other thing that Lieutenant Goodpath and myself have been working on is a blood drive for the family. Any blood that Charlie needs, that's the young boy's name, would go to him. The rest, would go to restock the blood center and go to provide the kids. With our chief's blessing, we're having it at Station 22 by the highway. It's going to be on the 21st of this month from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the blood center representative we're working with, the more donors that we get, the more they'll extend that time frame. And it's growing very quickly. We have a lot of people signing up, a lot of interest. And there's also a lot of news media that's going to be there. From what our representative at the blood center tells us, the Journal will be there, Channel 6, Channel 8, and Channel 59 will also be covering it. I personally reached out to all the police and fire departments in the whole county to try to do a big show of public service support from them, and including Chief Cochran, the Sheriff's Department. We have a lot of people coming in to donate, and so I want to let you guys know it's probably going to be a pretty big event. So I just want to keep you guys updated on that, and we hope to see you guys at Stacy's there too.
Okay, what's the date and time?
I actually have flyers if you want one, but it's also posted on our fire department page and our union page. And it's March 21st from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a Saturday, and it's at Station 22.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we will now go to the city council with Drew Akers moving out of town. Next, we will now move into appointment to the redevelopment commission, which is a city council appointment. Drew has previously been that voice and not living in the city anymore. So we will now open it up for nominations, discussion.
Mayor, if I may, I wish to make a nomination. I'm going to just kind of read this, so bear with me, folks. I know we've had a couple, at least one that is publicly, or at least has reached out and shown an interest outside of the council. Anyway, I will read this. As the council has appointed one person to the redevelopment commission who has already been appointed, who is not on the council, that's Mr. Wertz. And at least for me, I deem it proper that the redevelopment commission is comprised of at least one council member who has been appointed by the city council. And given that this person that I'm going to recommend has long expressed an interest in serving on the redevelopment commission for the city of Franklin, given that this person has served the city for 15 years as a Franklin City Council person, has served the Economic Development Commission for 19 years, going all the way back to Mayor Blankenship's term, and several of those years served as the president of the Economic Development Commission. And given that this person has demonstrated over these years that he can serve not only the council, but also the Economic Development Commission in a manner that has been dependable, knowledgeable, and independent, and keeping in mind the best interest of the city of Franklin. And given that this person is willing to resign his position he currently holds with the Economic Development Commission if appointed to the RDC, I move for the appointment of Ken Austin as the Franklin City Council's appointment to the Franklin Redevelopment Commission, Mayor.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Chris, right here, some seconds. Is there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, I guess we close and take a vote. All those in favor of Ken Austin, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, congratulations, Mr. Austin.
Thank you, Mayor.
And now you are stepping down from the EDC, which you are a mayor appointment. So in the next few days, I guess I would be making an appointment to the EDC. You're stepping down from the EDC.
Right, Mayor, may I just say that it's been a privilege working for the city and working on the Economic Development Commission. It's been quite a task, and over the last, I think, Mr. You mentioned since 2001, serving that on that committee and commission, and seeing the growth that we've had here in Franklin, and it's just been an honor and privilege to work with that group. And I've been asked to be on the redevelopment commission for many years, and didn't think that I could put the time in for it. But since we closed our Franklin facility for the company I work for, and I'm currently working out of my home office, I now can commit to that time that it takes on the redevelopment commission. So, thank you.
Congratulations. Krista, when is the next EDC meeting?
It's Tuesday, March 10th, so a week from tomorrow.
Okay. So I will probably reach out to someone in the next day or two.
And then the following Tuesday is the redevelopment commission meeting on the 16th, whatever the next Tuesday is. So I'll be in touch
Okay.
about both of those.
Thank you.
Mayor, you need a letter of resignation on the EDC?
I think probably would be good for him on time.
Okay, thank you. We'll have it tomorrow.
Okay. All right, that gets us to the consent agenda.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tom, yeah.
I'll move to read these by title only.
Second.
Consent agenda? Yeah.
Move to approve the consent agenda as written.
I just said we would do it.
Okay, we got a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Got a second by, I think Sean did it.
That's all right.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we will go on to old business. Council, we need a motion.
Don't mind.
Move to read old business by title only, Mayor.
Second.
Okay, there. Second by Mr. Taylor again, to read all old business by title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none. This gets us to the first item, and this is a public hearing. It was the Common Council Ordinance 20-01, amending the rates and charges for the use of sewage works in the city of Franklin. Before we get started, I would just like to add that last meeting, we had a pretty lengthy demonstration, or is there anybody else that's in the crowd that wasn't here that would like to see the presentation that was presented last week, or what was it, a month?
Last month.
Last month. If there's anyone here that wants to see that, raise your hand and you can go through that. I think most were here before, so not all. So if we're not going to do that, I'm going to waive the presentation, or just say we'll move on to the public hearing. So is there anyone that would like to get up and give us your opinion and talk about why, and express your opinion about the new rate increase? If not, someone on the council want, so it was open for public hearing. I'll close the public hearing, going once, going twice. Okay, public hearing is closed. So now, questions from the council. We have Westler Engineering here. Mr. Peters is here with financing. Mr. Watson with the ordinance, the upright ordinance, he's here. So is there any questions from the council?
I have no questions, but I just comment that it really, the remarks that I've heard are generally in favor, they're favorable in that I think these individuals understand what we're needing to get done, and I think that they did pay attention that the rates that we currently charge, and after the increase still is, at least how it compares in the county, is very favorable.
And I just want to add, I did hear someone made a comment about we should be making developers pay for the infrastructure. Developers do pay for the infrastructure. We need to have the main trunk lines there for the developers to run their sewers to. So it's not like we're paying for developers' work. The developers are paying their part. We are at a capacity where the infrastructure is not there. And now we're going to get our infrastructure to be good for another 20 years or longer. So we just heard tonight, and the reason I brought up this Board of Works, we just had an $800,000 project that's coming forward that we voted on tonight to do with the Board of Works. And our infrastructure is just starting, by no means, don't get anybody panicky, it's not falling apart, but we're at that stage that now is the time to move forward with our infrastructure improvements. So that's where we're at. So anyone else?
I've heard nothing but positive, and thanking the people for not raising it for the last 16 years, so they was, that was the biggest thing that I heard, so.
And we're still going to be the lowest in the county. That's the highlight, high point. And I think our sewer department has done a very good job of managing their funds, managing the department. Sally, Rick Littleton, you guys have done a good job, so I appreciate it. Sherry, your part, you've been here quite a while, so you've done a good job. Anything else?
tell us when the rates will be effective. This will go into effect if it passes tonight with the May billing, is that correct?
That's correct.
Stephen, was there anything you wanted to add with regard to your ordinance?
Unless you want me to talk more.
And then Sally is going to be, excuse me, Sally, I'll call you out. You're going to put in the billings, you're going to put a letter in all the billings that go out there, it takes
I
effect.
am for the month of April.
In the month of April, you're putting that in, and it goes into effect in May, correct? Okay. So the residents have been duly informed, and they're going to get informed.
And we do have part of the record, for purposes of the record, we do have a legal published post that Mr. Watson took care of, and it's published in the Daily Journal as required by law. I also believe under the terms of the statutes, even please correct me if I'm wrong, that we actually notified personally those persons that were outside the corporate boundaries of the city, as the statute requires us to do.
That's correct.
We're not forgetting responses.
That was done by me.
And I think our note, yeah, so that was actually personally mailed. The statute's a little bit unique. If you live outside the annex or outside the corporate boundaries, you get a personal mailing. If you live inside, then you have to publish it by the general publication in the Daily Journal, and both of those things were done on a timely basis.
And Steve, you're coming back next week with, or next meeting, 2 weeks with a schedule on the bond, correct? Is that?
Yeah, we'll talk, 2 weeks from now, we'll talk about the first bond issue that we talked about last time, as well as I will bring you some stuff on a potential sewer availability fee that you may want to oppose as well.
Okay. All right, is there anybody else?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve common council ordinance 20-01.
Second.
Second by Mr. Taylor, and Madam Clerk Treasurer, can we do this by roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Austin?
Aye.
Mr. Blankenship?
Aye.
Mr. Hugen?
Yes.
Ms. McGinnis?
Aye.
Mr. Rainierson?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. So we'll move on. Next, Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 20-02, authorizing additional appropriation to non-tax supporting funds. Clerk Treasurer Jane Rhodes. Is this one also public hearing, correct?
Right. It can be passed.
Okay, it's open for public.
Yes.
Yes.
It was introduced last meeting.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Rhodes, why don't you explain what it is, and then we'll open it up for public hearing.
These are non-tax supported funds, which means most likely they came from outside donations. And some of them have restrictions on what we can use them for. Others are, the departments can use them at their discretion. This is basically something that we do every year, is we just go ahead and appropriate them so that if a department does come up and need them, they're automatically ready to spend, and we don't have to do a 2-meeting thing when they may need them.
Okay. So now we'll open it up for public hearing, hearing the explanation from Ms. Rose. Anybody want to ask questions or say anything? Hearing none. Close the public hearing.
I'll move for approval of Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 20-02.
Second.
Second by Ms. McGinnis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, we will go on to new business.
Move to read new business by title only.
Second.
And motion is second to read by title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Item number 1, Common Council Resolution number 20-03, a resolution setting forth final action in determining an economic evaluation area and confirming resolution number 20-02, February 3rd, 2020. And I guess this is a two-part resolution here. Common Council Resolution number 20-04 granting tax abatement for GDI Holding LLC, Community Development Director, Kristen.
Hello again. This is the follow-up to the resolution that was approved at your meeting last, February, since we haven't had a meeting since then. But this is, originally, the declaratory resolution was approved, and then as part of the process, you have to do a public notice for the confirming resolution for the determination of the economic revitalization area. So a property has to be determined an economic revitalization area before a tax abatement can be granted. So this next resolution would do that after we have a public hearing on that. And then once that is complete, if that's approved, then we can actually act on the tax abatement itself.
They're ready for action tonight after public hearings.
Yes, they both are.
Thanks.
Okay, so I think, let's go ahead and open up the public hearing. It's 20-03, correct?
Yes.
Okay, is there any questions from anybody in the public or have any comment? Hearing none, we will close public hearing on 20-03. So that means we will be ready for a motion to approve or conversation by the council. So does the council have any other questions for Kristen?
Mayor, I'll move for approval of Common Council Resolution number 20-03.
Second.
Second by Sean Taylor, Mr. Sean Taylor. Is there any other discussion before we go ahead and act on the motion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so the next one is 20-02. Wait a minute.
20-04.
20 granting tax abatement for GDI Holding LLC, Community Development Director, Krista Lincoln.
And there is a little bit new information on this one since I'm not sure how much detail we went into previously, but when this request went before the Economic Development Commission, they, as you can see on the staff report, it was an anticipated $18 million in property investment for a 400,000 square foot building. Since then, they've been looking at expanding that size of the building to right around 1 million square feet with the anticipated investment amount of $35 million. And so they have submitted a new and a revised SB1 form, which is the attachment, that page right there, exhibit with that range. My understanding is they're going through the site plan review process, and based on what they can fit on that property, that's where they'll land square footage wise. So this is a good problem for us to have as far as, instead of $18 million, it's $35 million investment. I went ahead and included some additional Excel spreadsheets to show you the abatement amount. And this is just an estimate because a property, just because they spend $35 million, doesn't mean it's going to assess for $35 million. So there's one page that gives you an estimate of what the property taxes would be on this page here. If it assessed at, and this is just an estimate, $26 million. So over 10 years, if the state of Farmfield, we would collect $20,874.20 for what it's currently assessed at. But if this property, this building is built over 10 years, even with a 10-year tax abatement, we would have collect $4,364,351.40. And again, that's just an estimate because I don't know what the assessed value is going to be of this building. And so then over 20 years, once that abatement rolls off, 20 years, it's $13,006,631 compared to $41,748. So significant increase obviously there, and I think I pointed out last time, this is the shell only. So based on who the tenant is of this property, they're going to come in and they're going to do some modifications and building renovations that are specific for their needs. And so they would be eligible for an additional abatement at that time on the build out, because the assessed value would increase then as well. And then if they have any personal property, that could also have a separate abatement as well. So we could be looking at 3 abatements on this one property, just like we did for Sunbeam and Energizer building immediately to the west. They have 3 abatements currently on that. So these are kind of numbers. I went ahead and ran the numbers on the $35 million investment, but like I said, usually what is spent is not the, the actual assessed value. So I wanted you to see the comparison. There's a couple $1 million difference, obviously, over 20 years. There's the big difference. But just to give you some idea of what we would collect with it being, well, it wasn't annexed until, first of all, January 1 of this year. And so we weren't collecting anything. But now, if it stayed parkland versus this development, that's the difference there.
Krista, is this one of the parcels we're bringing into the TIF area?
Yeah, and
Actually creating a new TIF area for this?
Yes, we're actually going to the Plan Commission, I think it's March 16th, to make this an actual, its own TIF district. And then it'll come to you next, so you're going to see me again regarding this, but we would be creating a TIF district here. We couldn't do that until the property was annexed. And so this will be its own actual allocation area, which is where tax increment is collected. And we're doing it separately, and I'll explain this again when we come back around for that actual resolution. But if we add it to our existing TIF district, we already have a bond that we did in 2015. So the length of this TIF district would be tied to that existing TIF district. If we create a new one, the expiration date of this district doesn't start until we issue a bond against this TIF district. I don't know when or if we will do that. So it just increases the life of this new allocation area for TIF district.
Okay, so at this point, with the explanation that Krista just gave,
And Mike Sheik is here too with GDI, and so if there are any questions about the expansion or the change of plans, he can answer that. But it is a shell, so there are no jobs or salaries tied to this. That will come once we have a tenant and we do the subsequent abatement for the build out of the personal property.
okay, so Mike, can you tell us what your plan is timing-wise, of when you want to start construction? I know you've been talking with the planning department.
Sure. We're planning to close next month, and we'll probably start later this summer. And then, as Krista mentioned, we put a range in there this time just because of activity in the market that suggests that there might be a larger opportunity to build a larger building there. So rather than come back and change it next month, it makes sense just to put a range in there.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions? We need to open this up for a public hearing.
But you can.
I'll be dead.
We don't have to. No, we always do.
We always do, but.
We want to say something.
Right, and I like the fact that Krista showed what the tax abatements actually do, because there's a lot of people that say every time, I know everybody's started here, that everybody thinks that tax abatement's tax-free, and it's really not tax-free, it's a phase-in. So anyway, that was a good presentation on that, Krista. So anybody want to say anything? Hearing none, public hearing is closed. Council?
I'll move for the approval of the common council resolution number 20-04.
Second.
Second by Mr. Austin. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Next, common council resolution number 20-06, adoption of an amendment to the City of Franklin Comprehensive Plan 2013 to include a bicycle pedestrian way master plan, and confirming resolution number PC 20-04 of the Franklin Planning Commission. Joanna, we're not Tricia.
I am not Tricia. Unfortunately, our consultant was not able to make it, so I do have limited copies of the executive summary. Did want to go quickly through what the bicycle and pedestrian way master plan is. We've been working on this for quite some time. There was a committee in place that had numerous individuals throughout the city with different areas of interest that were on that. There were 2 public open houses that were had. In the plan itself, there is discussion regarding where our bicycle and pedestrian way system currently is and where we would like to see that go. So there are a number of maps in there divided into different types of pedestrian ways. As you can see on figure 15, that is for proposed bicycle facilities throughout the city. And then there's also one that is specific to sidewalks. Similar to what was mentioned at the Board of Works, something for the sidewalk extending down East Jefferson Street is one of those projects that would be included in this plan. So we're obviously already implementing some of the projects, which is a good thing to do. Let's see.
And what Joanna's talking about, just received the right at $850,000 grant from NDOT to help with the trail sidewalks, Jefferson Street that Joanna just spoke of, out on 44, by the new roundabout for the schools, and also on Hospital Road. We're working on trying to do something there, although we have to acquire some right away on Hospital Road.
So this bicycle master plan is actually going to be a proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan in our transportation section. We had previously went through and updated that section with the thoroughfare plan. This is just now an extension of that. It was heard at the Planning Commission in February. They had a favorable recommendation for it to do. And it was also at the Park Board, which is also in favor of this plan. Other elements of the plan not only include planning where they go, but once they're installed and having policies for keeping them clean, making sure that they're maintained, making sure they're safe. There's items in there that discusses signage, snow removal, all of those aspects, and then also includes some enforcement recommendations. So it is a pretty cohesive document, and is now up for your consideration and action for amending our comp plan.
It's not required, but I do want to open it up for public comment also, public hearing. I know Amanda Ott, you're here, you was on the committee, weren't you? You got anything you want to add?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's pretty thorough and it goes along with the county plan, and there's a lot of people who work hard on it.
Thank you.
For our council members, anybody wants to speak, these plans, Mr. Anderson's on the planning commission, there are plans, they're not specific, but they are utilized. These aren't documents that just sit on the shelf somewhere, because our staff is exceptional at going out and finding grants and finding things. And the first thing any of those grant applications will ask for is, what's your plan? What do you have a plan for? And you really have to have something in place to be able to demonstrate that. That's how we go out and get matching dollars. The other thing is when development does come in, we did this years ago with sidewalks, because many of the developers on the commercial side would usually say, why are you making us put a sidewalk into nowhere? That was the standard line they would always say. And we would say, it's not a sidewalk to nowhere, it's just not a sidewalk anywhere yet. And that's what having this plan in place allows us to do when those developers come in and say, you know what, we need to think about this ahead of time, because there is intended to be a route at some point in the future, and we can do this at that time. So it doesn't just sit on Joanna's credits up behind her desk. It really is a vital tool, primarily for the planning commission, to be able to use for development.
Another example of that is the Cumberland project, that the park plan and thoroughfare plan that we had at the time that development was going in, there was a sidewalk proposed on both sides, but since we did have a plan that showed for an asphalt trail, we were actually able to get the developer to do the installation of that trail, and then as that infill development just finalized, they were able to complete that. It's similar to also what's been done on the south side of Commerce Drive. near Grand Road is, you've noticed that there's an asphalt trail there. That was also part of a previous plan, so when that developer came in lieu of putting in a 5-foot concrete sidewalk, they put in a 6 to 8 foot asphalt plan, or trail. So it does help us as we continue to grow.
Okay, so
Mark, question, excuse me, Mayor. Julian, a question for Mark. Mark, you had mentioned in the Board of Works meeting that the grant or the money, this $840,000 is, you're already going to be spending some of that money, correct? You guys allocated?
We'll be spending all of that money on those two projects that I discussed.
Okay, and specific to, I know it's in the master plan here, but is that, any of that dollar amount located that you talked about and we're talking about now, is from Forsyth going east on East Jefferson Street for sidewalks? I know that we've talked about that in the past, but does it include that?
Yes, that project includes sidewalks from Forsyth to Milford.
Okay.
And there are stretches where there are sidewalk through there, but we'll fill in gaps as well.
Okay, and I noticed that, just looking at this document, it's about a 1.1 mile, $600,000 project.
Well,
That alone.
our cost estimate, our detailed cost estimate from the consultant that's doing the design, Crossroad Engineers, is about $440,000 for that construction.
Just
So-
that 1.1 mile?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Bob, you just asked a question, what you just asked?
Well, it's not, this is great, but it's not even a but, it's just noting that I think when we do the 31 project, there'll be paths or trails, hopefully on each side of the highway, as they do that project in 23.
Yes, there'll be trails where we have enough right of way, but when you get down in the area of, say, highway lanes, it's going to be more appropriate to put sidewalk in because we don't have the width, and to purchase the right of way would be prohibitively expensive. So we'll put sidewalks in where we have to and trails where it's appropriate.
People can walk up and down the highway instead of walking in the middle of the highway,
Correct.
which I've done before. maybe.
Or ride a bicycle.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Okay,
As a
so,
kid.
we
And
did
that's
have,
shown on the bicycle facilities site, or exhibit also.
we did have a public hearing, so I'm gonna close the public hearing if no one else has anything to say. Going once, going twice. Public hearing is closed. I think we're ready for any more comments or a motion.
I need a motion to approve common council's budgetary resolution 20-02. No, excuse me, it's 20-06.
Yes, sir.
Do I need to also include plan commission resolution 20-04?
No, their resolution to you was recommending approval, and
Okay.
sent to you unanimously, Mr. Reiner, since we
Okay.
speak to that, but, so they recommended unanimously approval. This is your resolution 06.
20-06.
Yes, sir.
I'll second.
Mrs. McGinnis seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, hearing none. Thank you. Next, common council budgetary resolution 20-02, authorizing a transfer from donation fund city court services to donation fund city court supplies for the purchase of podiums in the amount of $677, clerk treasurer Jane Rhodes.
Yes, I'm here on behalf of Judge Lloyd. They neglected, or there was not a podium in the new
There's their bid.
city court, and so he would like a podium. There is money available in his budget, we just need to move it, and I have to have your blessing that I can move.
And Judge Lloyd was here earlier and had another commitment, and so I told him I would send his regrets to you. He did care about his $600 podiums,
And
and
this,
they are needed. I was there this morning in court, so.
and this did, fund that you just approved earlier, the donation fund, where somebody has donated money to the city court. That's where this is coming from, so.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve common council budgetary resolution number 20-02. I second.
Second by Mr. Ryerson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll go on to the next. Common Council Budgetary Resolution number 20-03, authorizing a transfer from Police 300 Services to Police 400 Capital in the amount of $17,844. Police Chief Kirby Cochran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council. I'm here this evening to ask for, excuse me, a transfer from Police Services 300 to Police Services 400. Basically, this is a project, I was here last year, about the same time. We have 12 furnaces, 12 ACs in the building. We have them on a matrix plan so that we can replace them. This particular unit is a 1994, so we've been spending a lot of money on it. And we're just trying to get them all replaced without trying to do them at one time. So we need to move that money in the amount of $17,844 to make that project come to fruition.
And I think everybody up here knows it's not new money, it's money that's in the budget, you're just transferring it from one line item to another, just to clarify with new council members. Sorry.
Can I do a motion?
Yes.
All right, I'll move for approval of Common Council Budgetary Resolution 20-03.
Second.
Second by Mr. Taylor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll go to the next. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Request approval to apply for the FEMA Global Fire Protection Prevention Grant, Fire Chief Matt Cole.
So FM Global is a company that deals a lot with fire extinguishers, so they have a grant you can apply for to deal with arson and public education. We'd like to apply for a grant for $4,266. There's no matching funds, and the big bulk of the issue will be that we're going to buy some Honda portable generators that have lights already on them. And the reason we would like those and why it ties into arson is we're going to assign those to our arson investigators, because right now, if we have a fire at night, we actually leave the fire truck there for about an hour or so just so they can have lighting and 3 to 4 crew members with that engine. So we can take a $1,500 generator with a light on it and replace a $700,000 truck with 3 or 4 firemen there. So we're going to buy 2 of those with this grant, looking at sending 2 arson investigators to a conference. The state has now mandated that we have to get 24 hours a year continuing education when we no longer had to. So they will get that there. They're our lead investigators. They'll bring the information back from the conference and train the other 8 secondary type investigators and then some public education material.
No match, right?
No match on this one. No.
Chief, is that enough hats for all the festivals we have?
Well, okay, so
Yeah, you're next.
we'll take care of that in a different. I have 2 other grants that we just worked on today that I haven't asked permission yet for. So we're looking on that in a different area.
Okay, thank you.
But yes.
Any other questions from the chief?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Taylor. You guys are burning it up.
Good going.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll go on to the next one. Request for approval to apply for FEMA FY 2019 Assistance to Firefighter Grant to purchase an engine. Grant has a 10% match. Fire Chief Matt Cole.
All right, so I would say every year that FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, comes out with a grant. However, they didn't do it last calendar year, so because of continuing resolutions in the federal government as far as budgets. So the last week of January, they actually came out with the 2019 grant. We have from February 17th till March 13th next week, Friday, to apply for it. We actually have it completed and are just ready to hit send. Lynn has looked at the document for legal purposes, and what we are requesting to purchase, and it has a 10% match, so is our R.23, which is a 75-foot ladder truck. Okay, it's 15 years old, and so it's actually at the end of its life cycle. So one of FEMA's priorities is actually ladder trucks, so we decided to try to match up our need with one of their priorities for funding. The ladder truck is $850,000, of which, of course, we had to purchase or contribute $85,000 of that amount. So I am just looking for permission to go ahead and apply for that grant, because no matter what, I will be asking for a new ladder truck soon. So I would prefer to use somebody else's money and just pay the $85,000 if at all possible. Again, it's no guarantee you're gonna get the grant. It's like everything else, it's highly competitive, and everyone else wants their piece of the pie. But I'd at least like to apply.
Do we have to do the match before the grant?
No, if you get approved, and then you just have to,
So we're not committed?
no, not committed at all, and Jane and Don, my administrative assistant, handle these grants also.
So you'll,
I read all 68 pages. There are a lot of, if you are fortunate enough to get $750,000, as you might expect, there are a lot of long-term reporting obligations, obligations to keep track of money, obligations to account for it, to keep the records. But at this point, sir, other than reading 68 pages, there's no other obligation.
And I'd just like to add too that since I've been in city government, and I know Ken, you've been here longer than I have, I know of 3 fire trucks that's been bought, and that I know of, and you probably know another one or two. And it's usually anywhere from $800,000 to $1 million. And we've usually, one time I know we financed it through DPW and paid DPW back, and the other times we found a way to pay cash for it. Since appointing Brett Jones here as a fleet manager, he's done a really good job of figuring out how can we do this a better way. So just so the council knows, when we go to another budget of next year, I want you to know that we're going to probably, when it comes time to replace this, work on a lease program that it's not going to cost us $1 million up front. We'll be able to lease and maybe get on the metrics of every 5 or 6 years when that rotation comes around that we have paid for. So just when we start talking about budgets, I just want you to know that will be a part of that budget that's going to be added to the fire department. To get us on a metric so that we don't have to pay $1 million at a time. So Brett's done a great job, and I'll get more in detail when we meet one-on-one to talk about this. So I just want to get that out there. So you can ask, but you're not going to get it. So anyway, this grant application, the chief asked me where would we get the $85,000. If we did get it, it would come out of CCD fund, that there's funds there, and that's where we usually bought our fire truck out of before, was the CCD fund.
so we'll see it again, though. I mean, once the grant's approved, it'll come back here for actually final funding.
If we get the grant, it is a highly competitive grant. It's, I wouldn't bet on getting $750,000.
And you don't, but you don't know if you don't ask.
Right.
So,
Thank you for applying.
Yeah.
So I guess you haven't applied yet.
Not until I get your permission.
They're ready though.
That's great, though, and I appreciate that, and the firefighters' efforts from the police and fire to go out and find these grants, because they're out. And we do appreciate it.
I'll move for approval of the request.
Thank you. I second it.
So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, you're done. That gets us to other business. Anybody have any other business they want to bring up? Will, do you have anything you want to say on behalf of the mayor's council? Nothing. All right, thank you for coming tonight. We'll start down there with Amy.
I don't have anything this evening.
Okay.
No comments.
Mr. Austin?
Thanks, Bob, for the kind words, and look forward to working with the redevelopment commission.
I have nothing tonight.
No comments, sir.
No comments tonight?
Ms. Rose? Ms. Gray?
Yes, sir, I'm fine.
Okay.
Read 68 pages.
Okay, we need a motion to
Need a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn, I motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.